What's up, everyone? We are in December.
Already.
I know.
Already, man.
It happens so fast.
Yeah,
Are you ready
so
for it,
fast.
Patrick?
I was not. I was not ready for it.
You're
No.
not. What would
No.
make you ready?
I don't know, man. not be in December.
Oh, yeah. All right. Chris coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Chris. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays for those that don't celebrate Christmas. And then also, I know Dan did a super chat very early on before the stream even started. So thank you for that, Dan. And yeah, so we are we're in the home stretch of 2023. We've been we're thinking about 2024 and what's going to be coming. I'm excited to see what'll happen in Fabric with all the updates. The roadmap looks strong, so I'm excited about that. Chatmaster C said you'd be ready for December if it was January.
Oh, yeah. True statement.
Yeah, Fernando. Yeah, no worries. Not everyone does. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So welcome everyone. Happy Saturday. First stream in December. And we've got a few more. We'll do 2 more streams this year. So we'll have one next Saturday, and then we'll have a stream on the 16th. And then we'll not have a stream the last 2 Saturdays of the month, of the year. And then we'll be back in January. So I did put in the chat the stream on the 16th. We're going to have Kim Manis and Bogdan Kravat. They are the part of the leadership team for Microsoft Fabric. So that'll be really good to, we can talk about all the cool things and, what their thoughts are on items and just have a good old time. So that'll cover a lot of good stuff. So Bogdan owns the, like the data engine, all the Synapse stuff. So data engineering, warehouse, those items. And then Kim is the PM VP for all of product management. So lots of good info and coverage there. So excited for that. If you are new to the live stream or GuineCube in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces. Just want to say hi and welcome you to the stream. We're happy you're here. And I also put in the chat. I'm probably gonna be coughing a little bit. This cough has been sticking around now. I'm on week 2, so we'll see how that goes. Patrick is not happy with it, but we will deal. So, all right. Shout out to all the members of GuineCube. You help us do what we do here on the channel, so thank you for that. If you see folks with a green name or the GuineCube icon next to their name, those are members of GuineCube. Just shout out to all y'all. You definitely help us, and we greatly appreciate it. If you want to learn more about being a member, you can check out the link on the screen, or you can hit the join button down below to learn more. No commitment required. Just a big thank you for having a look. And then Alex, member for 45 months. That's bananas. Here's to 45 more. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. So let's see who's new here. We've got, let's see where it started. So Andrew is new. Samula is new. I know I didn't pronounce that right. Bootleg Batman is old. I do like that name though. That's nice. Awase is new. Pete is new to the live stream anyway. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Lulute is new. Is the stream every Saturday? So we strive for every Saturday. We sometimes miss it. But that's Saturday is the regular schedule for it though. So we'll try and communicate in the community tab of the GuineCube channel, like what our schedule is for the month, so you can be aware of it. So like I said, we've got today's stream, and then we've got the next 2 Saturdays we'll have a stream, and then we're off for the rest of the year, just the last 2 weeks of the year, and then we'll be back in January. So Mubarak is new. Jaeger is good for coughs. Thanks, Johnny. Shadak Shari is new. And that's all I've got. Rob, for long-time listener, first-time caller. Love it. Love it. Yeah, definitely participate in the chat. The chat is very great at responding and engaging. So even if we don't get to all of your questions, I'm sure folks in the chat are going to help you out as well. So it's all good. And Tristan, no worries on being late. You're just in time. We're getting started. So great to be here. Kevin, which live stream will we wrap up? It depends donations. So the 16th, that'll be the last stream. So we'll do it there. And then Wyatt, member for 43 months, bananas, and Kevin's for 41 months. That's the thing I love is like a lot of folks that just long-term members, and I love that about the community. Just being here, helping everyone out, and so appreciate it. All right. All right, rules. We need some rules, Patrick. We always have to have some rules. No rules?
There's no rules.
Hashtag no rules for Patrick. So some rules for the questions. Please put Q colon in front of the questions. Chatmaster C is standing by to get them in the queue. One time is all you need, and it will get in the queue. We don't necessarily get to all of them, so apologies for that. But you do not need to keep repeating the question. If you do repeat the question, we have a 3 strikes rule here on Guy in a Cube. 3 strikes, and you get put into a timeout by either Chatmaster C or one of our lovely moderators, except Patrick. And so please, just one time, we'll try and get to it as best we can. If you do have a burning question and you want to make sure it gets answered, Super Chat always takes priority through the whole stream. That will jump the queue. Just make sure if you do the Super Chat, you put the question in the chat before you hit the button. Otherwise, you're just sending a Super Chat, and that's much appreciated as well. And then members, hold your questions until the second half. Chatmaster C will give you the green light. And then you can go ahead and do that. All right. Patrick, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. First question is from OpenTube. I'm using Power BI Premium Capacity. My database is on an Azure virtual machine. Is there a way to connect my database using the data pipeline? Or are there any alternative methods? So the answer right now is no. Not for on-prem today, at least directly from the pipeline. So you could probably do some alternative things of, maybe pumping it into like an Azure SQL database and going there. But yeah, no, not today. However, I'm going to jump over to my machine, Patrick. We're going to head over to my machine. So I'm going to point you to the roadmap. Let's see if this is... I don't know if that command is going to be working there. If you go to the Fabric release plan, we can come down into the Data Factory side, and that will, if we look down here, we will see in there on-premises data gateway support added to data pipelines, and that's expected first quarter of 2024. And my roadmap command did not do it, so that's going to be HTTP MS Fabric roadmap. I don't know why that didn't work. So that's the answer for this. So it's coming soon. So we're excited for it. Can't wait for it. Patrick will feel complete when that's available.
Yeah, but I mean, you said this earlier though. They could use data flows. Gen 2.
Yes. Yeah, data flows is another alternative to, because that supports the gateway, so you could go that route. But if you want the pipeline, you're gonna have to wait on that. So be aware of that. But yeah, data flows Gen 2 will do it. All right, and so Christian's shouting out 40 months being a member, only 40 months. Yeah, I know. It seems like still 40 months is a long time. Chewy at 42 months, so appreciate that, Chewy. And then Rajan, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for that. All right. So Matthew has a question. What is the right number of chainsaws to give to a monkey? And second question, does the answer change depend on how much the monkey has had to drink? So this is it's kind of an inside joke. We had a internal at Microsoft. There was a customer conversation, and there was a relation to something, and the relation to that was it's like giving chainsaws, or it's like drunken monkeys with chainsaws. And so we kind of went off on that, and that was
Yeah.
it was amazing. Just comparing like the idea of having all these tools and you just give it to someone new, and it's like a drunken monkey with chainsaws, and they can just wreck everything. So it was great. It was very great. So thank you for that, Matthew. Wait. All right, this is a Patrick question. I have more than 100 files of Excel located in different folders, updated on a daily basis. I'm making a copy of every file and then put it to a folder and sync to Power BI. Help me, Patrick. You're my only hope.
Don't copy them to folders. Make a real ETL process and put it in a database, and then point Power BI to that database. I mean, I don't know if you have access to do something like that, but that would be the best solution. Trying to copy files and access those files, and that's just messy, right? Use something to centralize them in one place, and then just point to that one place. That's what I would do. What you got, Adam? What do you think?
Yeah. Like we were thinking of some other ideas of where you could potentially do it, but
Yeah.
the fact that you're copying it is like resetting like the updated date, and so that makes it a little challenging. So it's it's tough.
I don't know other way. Yeah, I don't know other way.
Yep. All right. Yeah, Alex. Centralize is the key word. Yes.
Centralize.
All right.
And I came up with something. You're making me cough, man.
Uh-oh.
Making me cough.
Uh-oh.
Keep going.
Oh, you said you came up with something.
Keep going, though. There's other questions before.
All right. Let's see here. So Carlos got, I use shared data set and have a request to adjust one column just for that report. Is there a way to adjust that column, change some rows directly on the report with measures?
Hey guys, I use shared data set and request to adjust one column just for the report. Is there a way to adjust that column? What do you mean adjust that column? So once you go in direct query mode against that data set, I don't know who, I think I was talking to Pat Mahoney, I forgot. And once you go in direct query mode, which I didn't realize this, you can create columns in that model, right? You can create tables and columns. So if you want to do that, but you're essentially making another data set.
Wait, why did you jump to direct query?
Well, that's what they said, shared data set. So once I connect to that data set, and
yeah, but that's not direct query necessarily.
No, what I mean you go, and I'll tell you what I'll tell you where I'm going with this. I'll tell you where I'm going with this.
In general, like if you want to adjust those things, because it sounds
basic. Back at the source.
Well, yeah, you got to do it back at the source. But I'm the thing that's I'm sticking on here is change some rows. So it sounds like you want to change the data in the columns.
I missed that part.
Yeah, that's what I latched onto was changing rows, which means we want to change data directly with using measures. And I don't know what my thing is. I don't know what your scenario is. Like, what's your goal of what you're trying to accomplish? Because that's going to help understand how to answer this.
Because I'm thinking they're just trying to change the column for some of the rows. Right, like saying, okay, if this column, if these rows match this criteria, change the value of those columns. That's how I interpret it. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. No worry.
Yeah, I need more info on that one. So in general, though, if you want to adjust a given column and like the row data within the column, you should be doing that back in the source. Could you do it from a measure perspective? Technically, yes. You could do in terms of what's displayed, you could do like an if statement, and then if it's this, do this, but don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, it's going to be bad.
Don't do that.
Not only is it like I'm triggering on from a performance perspective, but also just from a maintenance perspective and managing that. Like that's going to be bad. So it's better to do it further upstream if you can. If that makes sense.
A room's here. How about that?
What?
A room's here.
I didn't see Arun. Where's?
Yeah, he
wow!
Himself.
Hey, Arun. Wow. All right. Hey, Arun. Glad to have you here. All right. Well, I'm going to add him as a moderator just so. you know, whenever he wants to put Patrick in a timeout, he can.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have to get him back on the stream.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Matthew's like, be professional. Be professional.
Oh, right. Yeah, we gotta change the stream flow now. Boss is watching. All right. Moving on. Here we go. All right. Pete, when will there be an option to turn case sensitivity off in the fabric warehouse? The fabric idea says it's being worked on, but no mention of it on the roadmap. Yep, that is something the team is very aware of. So they are working on it. I don't have a timeline.
It's coming soon.
Yeah, I don't have a timeline
It's coming
to share
soon.
with you. So
It's coming soon.
just pay attention to the blogs. Keep the feedback coming too. And also for folks, so Pete is mentioning the Ideas site. So definitely go to the Ideas site to get your feedback in. So that the team is absolutely looking at this.
Mark's saying it right there. Mark Price is saying we're working on it.
Yeah.
He didn't give us a timeline, but we're working on it.
Yeah, Mark is
Thanks, Mark.
one of the PMs on the warehouse team, so they are working on it. So yeah, apologies, I can't give you a crisp timeline on it.
Definitive timeline.
I'm hoping, and Mark, take this feedback. I'm hoping if you guys, once you do have an idea, make sure that's put into the
On the
release
roadmap.
plan so people can find out about it. So awesome. Thanks for that, Pete. All right. Chiron, who is
lots of people in the chat
new
today.
viewer. I know. There's a lot of people going. Here's hoping for a Christmas present, Pete. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Chiron, so Power BI, is it possible to show table column description when we hover on the column? Yeah. I'm trying to find a solution for a couple days. Any help is appreciated. So
I did a video.
You did a video on this. Do you have? Can you show it? Can you show it?
I probably not.
Why not?
But that's you just put a description. Okay.
Yeah. Well, hang on. What did they say? So the table column description. Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah. Let's head over to my machine.
Yeah. Your machine. All right. We're going over to your machine.
Yeah. So let's say I have this column right here. So you see my screen.
Yep.
Right there, right? The birthday.
Yep.
And there is a description. So I say, this Adam is getting really old, right? So you put that.
Yep.
Put that on the description. Adam is getting really old.
Yeah.
And then I go here.
I don't like that, Patrick. You should say Adam's getting very mature.
Okay. All right. So then we'll go to customer, hover over birthday, and right there. Is that what you're talking about?
So I don't think that's what they're talking about. Tristan and Alex are kind of coming in. So the thinking is that when you do that from a visual perspective, if you hover over the column on the visual.
So you would need to create a metadata layer in your model, and then somehow grab that value for that particular column, and you can make a tooltip. Right? Not all visuals support it, though. Not all visuals support it. That's going to be the challenge. There's a blog post.
But it's supported for a table and matrix. The challenge there, though, is that doesn't work if you hover over the column name. That would be when you're hovering over the
not if I hover over the column. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, so
I don't know.
Yeah, so Tristan's also saying you can add a description and tooltip on top of the matrix and tables. Yeah, but But the problem is if you want it context sensitive to hovering over the column itself, like the column name, you're not going to get that. Now you could do like on the visual itself, you could have a tooltip for the visual, and then that has like descriptions of things for it. That's an option as well, but it's not contextual to over that specific column.
Because if I have columns from multiple tables, I just can't say this visual, unless you, I don't know.
So, Ideas is a great place if that's something you're really interested in. You can go put it there. It might already be there.
That's a good one.
Yep. Another option would be so I did a video on like having like an info panel, so you could have a button that brings up an info panel for the report itself. and you can add description and almost documentation like a layer over. But again, it's not on top of the column. So there are a lot of options, but not specifically for hovering over the column itself.
That's a good idea.
So yeah,
That's a good idea though.
okay.
I like it.
All right, Born Thor. First of all, thanks. You're welcome. I'm new to Power BI, so hopefully this isn't too simple. Simple. We like simple. Simple's good.
Yes.
Is there a way I can make sure a report I publish to Teams includes the tabs that I create in the report? So I'm assuming tabs, you mean pages.
Yeah, they should just show.
Yeah, if you embed a report,
don't hide them.
You should just, yeah. So if you hide the pages, they won't show up, but that should work inside of Teams.
But just add the Teams app, add the Power BI app to Teams, and then you have Power BI inside of Teams, and don't embed. I get it, right? You want to embed it in a tab or something, but they should all be there.
Yeah. So it'd be curious. I don't know, Born Thor, if you can maybe add details. Are you seeing that that's not the case? And like, how are you actually getting it in Teams where you're actually seeing that behavior? That would be good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Michael. Fabric Warehouse only supports bin collection. Tragedy of the joins, or is CIAI coming?
So a different type of correlation, right? Is there a different type of correlation coming? Another Mark.
Mark, I don't know if you're there, if you can answer that. That would be, I don't know if that's coming. That might be something they're looking at, but I don't know. Mark would have to chime in the chat. So, and if it's not there, and that is something that you require additional correlations, again, please get the feedback in. So Mark is saying we do support different correlations, but is CIAI coming specifically, Mark?
Let's see. I gotta look it up, Adam.
All right. You gonna go to ChatGPT?
No way.
Mark said on column. I don't know what that means.
It's supported on column.
Okay.
You can set that correlation at the column level, he's saying.
I have to Google that with all right. Cool. All right. So, Michael, that if you're seeing that it's not there, then please get your feedback in. So it sounds like we do offer other correlations, but maybe that one's missing. So it'd be good to get that feedback. All right, Rob, are you aware of issues with Gen 1 data flows where it's not pulling in most recent data? We've been working with Microsoft support for months with no resolution. I'm not specifically aware of an issue there. So I'm assuming what you're seeing is that the refresh is succeeding, but you're not seeing the data reflected in the data flow. And you've already got a support case open, so that's the right route to go. Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of a lot of people using Gen 1, but it's working fine. So I'd want to look into the data flow itself and like how, like at least to verify, like from the Power Query perspective, like is it actually pulling in the right set of data, or do you have some filter in there that's maybe preventing it from coming in? Yeah, Alex is chiming in too. He's not aware of any issues. Yeah.
Is it the right source? Is it the right source? Are you going to the right source? I don't know.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting too. Sometimes what I've done, two things that I tend to try. I'm putting my troubleshooter hat on. One, I would try, can I reproduce this with a second data flow? Like if I create a new data flow, does it seem to like start working? The other thing I would do is if I move those Power Query M statements into Power BI Desktop, do I see a different behavior? So those are things I would try to see if we can narrow down like what might be faltering. I'd also look at, so Dataflows also has some really good on the refresh history. You can download some logs associated with it that are actually really good. So you could actually see like sometimes like how many rows were processed and see if that gives you some hints. So those are all things I would look at. I also don't know if you're going through a gateway. If you are, it might be interesting to look through the logs there and see if there's anything bubbling up that might be causing a problem. But He said have to
So
download
many.
a file, manually refresh, re-upload, and then cancel workspace refresh to not lose data. Ooh, that sounds really specific. Yeah, I'd have to. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't answer it in this context. We'd have to look more on the to see what the support folks have done, as well as to like debug that scenario and see what's going on. Tristan's also mentioning, like, do you have incremental refresh turned on for the data flow? Because that might be preventing it from going back and pulling things. So that's a good call out. Thank you for that, Tristan. And then Alex said, shoot him a note on LinkedIn, and we'll figure it out. John. Hey, John, how's it going? He's also saying about incremental on that too. That could be causing some interesting behavior for you. Rob said no incremental refresh. So okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, reach out to Alex, and we'll see if we can dig in. All right. Let's see here. And Arun's pointing out too, Dataflow's Gen 2, see if that works better for you.
They are.
Be something to look at. I've been really happy with Dataflow's Gen 2.
Yes,
I'm
as of
just
late.
Gonna say it has come a long way.
Yeah,
it's pretty spunky and fast, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So
About to do my first real video on it.
Yeah, I know. I've got to record my video was supposed to, and I'm sorry, Robin, if you're watching, because you were saying that you didn't want to have to wait for November 30th, and the video didn't drop on November 30th. So I'm recording it tomorrow. It'll drop next week on the staging stuff, because I teased it and then I left you hanging.
Oh yeah, you did.
The video's coming.
You left us hanging.
Yeah, that was a masterful hang on the end of that description. So.
You left the world hanging.
So. Yeah. All right. So Tristan's got a question. Do you know if Fabric Warehouse or Lakehouse will support basic authentication at some point? Currently only works with Azure Active Directory. Oh, that's a good question.
There's a lot of warehouse questions this morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like it. That means people are looking at it.
Yeah.
So in terms of basic authentication, I haven't heard personally if that's something that's on the roadmap. It'd be interesting to know the scenario. So I could see...
Mark says there's no plan for basic auth.
All right, there you go. Mark said no plan. So get your feedback in. Yeah, that's not an it depends either. Fernando, Azure Entra ID. Yes.
I forgot about it depends.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm saying that was not an it depends.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But I forgot.
All right. Right now it's just going to be Azure AD. So there you go. And then for folks, we just mentioned the. No. It doesn't depend, Mark. That one's either a yes or a no. You said no, so I did say it, but it wasn't in context. I said it's not that. So for those that don't know, that it depends. So if our answer to a question is it depends, we put $1 in the jar. And Kevin and Chewy they graciously track all of that for us. And then at the end of the year, which is coming up very soon, we donate that to charity. So, so we have a little fun with it. All right, Matthew. Yes, I said it. It's not. If that's the answer to the question, not necessarily that I said it. If I said the phrase, I'm just going to refer to it as the phrase now.
The phrase.
All right, Matthew. Looking for insight, trying to use Analyze, right-click on a bar line chart for that built-in AI goodness. But I'm using a live connection. It's not available. Oh, yeah, that's a limitation. I have to go look. There are call-outs in the documentation of limitations for that feature, and I believe live connections are one of the limitations. So, what do you do?
Looking it up.
Oh, you're looking it up. So, and I know there's like other, there's like 3 or 4 limitations I think that are there for using that feature. So yeah, unfortunately, I think that's one of the limitations.
Considerations and limitations. It doesn't. It doesn't say that.
What's the link?
It's a.
Share your screen. Share your screen. Or put it on your screen.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right.
All right. I thought
This is the one. Is this the one we're talking about? The analyze part? This stuff?
Yeah, but so there's different
So-
aspects to it.
Yeah. Considerations: the analyze feature isn't available for all visuals.
Oh, maybe it's because of the
Copy
visual
in.
type you're using. What visual was it? That'd be good to know, Matthew. Oh my gosh, it's already, wow. Ooh, Chatmaster C cleared the queue on me. I didn't realize, I wasn't watching the time.
Oh, it works on a line chart. It definitely works on a line chart.
Yeah, it will work on a line chart.
I'm not sure.
All right.
I have to test it. I
Yeah.
have to test it, Adam. What is
Matthew-
it? Live connected.
Yeah, so it's a live connection and a line chart visual for the analyze. So I'm assuming you're trying to do the forecasting, Matthew. Are you trying to do the forecasting for it or something else? I'll wait for that. But yeah, members, start getting your questions in. Chatmaster C has cleared the queue. Yeah, forecasting. Okay, Matthew, we'll take a look. We'll follow up next stream, next Saturday, with what we find. So.
Because there's some other limitations, right? Data type and things like that.
Yeah, it's
So,
got to be a date. You've got to have a date in there. Definitely go through the limitations and just validate that you don't have any of those, and then we'll give it a whirl and see what we can come up with. All right. So Chatmaster C has cleared the queue. We are going to go into members only section. So that means members and moderators can participate in the chat. Everyone else can still watch the stream and learn all the goodness, but you won't be able to participate in the chat. So for those that had questions in the queue, apologies, we didn't get to it. There were still a bunch in there. Sorry. Come back next Saturday and we'll try again. If you do have a burning question that we didn't get to, super chats always take priority. So that'll jump the queue. Just make sure you type in the question as part of it. And if you want to learn more about being a member, you can use the following link. No commitment required. Just thank you for checking it out. All right. So let's cut over to members only.
I can't believe it's already 11 o'clock.
That went fast. Oof. All right. Going into members only mode. There we go. And then we'll do that. Cool. All right. One of the benefits of being a member, either at the visitor or producer tiers, you can pre-submit questions. You didn't tell me, Patrick. We're still looking at your screen. We're back up. All right. Yes. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex, for saying it. Patrick didn't tell me. Yes. I didn't realize it. So one of the benefits of being a member at the visitor or producer tiers, you can pre-submit questions. We do have a question that we're going to show today. This should be all right. Are you ready, Patrick?
I'm ready.
All right. So the question is: there's a lot of buzz about direct lake mode in Fabric. Is it really almost as fast as import mode? And if yes, where's the proof? That's a great question. So I'm going to start this out. I'm going to say something and then I'll let Patrick say it. I will start off with it depends. And so as with all things, when we're talking about data and performance, one thing to realize is your data, right? Your data can have a massive effect over performance and how it responds and what the behavior is. And so the reality that I'm going to say is, and what I tell every customer I talk to when we're trying to compare performance is we want to compare apples to apples, right? And so you'd have to do it with your data. Compare what it is with your data in import mode versus direct lake. And, as best you can, right? So like make sure you've got the same columns, the same data, the same measures, and measure that performance and see what it happens. So we could give you numbers for a direct lake model like that we create and we can show you on our side, but that doesn't mean you're going to have the same experience on that. And so I would also say there's the other things to think about too, and this is true for import mode too, is the difference between a cold hit as well as a warm hit when we think about caching.
That's right.
Some of the differences between direct lake and import mode is import mode, we're loading potentially loading the whole model up into memory. And so everything's basically warm at that point. I do know that some of that, it depends also on the data set and how they've implemented certain things. But with direct lake mode, like if you've not hit it at all, like the whole thing is cold. And so we're trying to pull it up from a column perspective. And so, once it's warm, it's going to be super fast. So those are things you need to consider on that. But definitely explore it with your data to see what those benchmarks look like from your end, and then based on that, like see if there's optimizations you can do. Maybe there's tuning you can do based on the data and the structure and how you're actually looking at it from a one lake perspective, and that might be a route to go. And then Alex, bringing in Phil Seamark to the conversation. Phil Seamark doing a 2.1 billion row direct lake aggregation in less than 1.6 seconds blew his mind on the day after Dashboard in a Day workshop. Yeah. So you can absolutely see some amazing benefits on that, especially when you think about the V ordering that takes place from the Delta files. You can have insane performance on that front. And I've seen a lot of examples of it. But again, it depends on your data. The other thing I would say too is the data that's in one lake was V ordering applied to it or not. So like if we're just doing a shortcut out to just maybe you did some Databricks Delta files and you did a shortcut to that, and we're trying to do direct lake on top of that, that's going to be a different performance benchmark than if you would have had V ordering on top of it. So those are all things you have to consider as well.
You got to look at the big picture though, right? And everybody's like, oh, well, let's see the proof. Let's see the proof. But you got to look at this all up. What if I had a 2.1 billion row table? What do I have to do, to make that work in import mode, to refresh it, to get it as fast? With direct lake, I'm just writing it out. Maybe I got to warm my cache a little bit, but I mean, I have a 1.57 million row demo, and
million or
I
billion?
build a report. Billion. Billion.
Like millions.
And every time I go talk about, direct lake, I build that demo in like 3 seconds, build a report in a few seconds, and everything is just snappy, slice and dice. And so, I mean, you still have to take care with your model. You just can't say I'm just dumping everything there. Remember, Mim called me out, or Alex called me out about my flat table. You still got to take care with your model. You still need to follow best practices to make sure you're taking full advantage of what the V order has to offer. So,
and I'll shout out to Arun in the chat said he'll say it. Direct Lake is pretty close to import today, and it's getting faster. So they're continuing to work on this and improve things. And Arun is the absolute source of truth. So for those that don't know, Arun Ulog he's the corporate VP for Azure Data. So he is responsible for everything Fabric. So it doesn't get better than that.
Don't go away from your best practices. Don't go away from your best practices.
The other thing I'll say, and I've been talking with Phil as well, we're pushing to get some guidance documentation out for Direct Lake as well. So the stuff that Phil Seamark's been working on, so stay tuned on that. That's going to be coming as well to help everyone understand, like, hey, where do we get the best benefit from that? So.
He's got a Git repo out there that you can go to today. That's kind of like a direct lake analyzer, kind of for a VertiPack. You know how the VPAX is. Yeah. He's got a notebook that you can add, and you can run it over your data set, and it looks at all types of metrics for your direct lake tables. It's gold, right? He's working on it. It's a work in progress. But
hey, Alex, nice. Do you have the link to Phil Seamark's repo in GitHub? I don't. I'd have to go find it. So Patrick throwing it out there without a link. So.
I'll find it.
And then Matthew making a quote, you still need to make your baby, or make sure, I'm assuming he said make sure your baby isn't too ugly. Yes.
Yeah.
Bit of a typo there, but that's all good. I interpreted it. All right. Cool. So that was the pre-submitted one. So let's go into, so there were two sets of questions here from Dan and Shane. They indicated they weren't going to be able to be here for the second half, so we do have those queued up. Thank you, Chatmaster C. And let's go with Dan's question. So notebook, is dynamic SQL possible? The use case is I want to dynamically build a statement to return direct query metrics on all columns in all tables, thus automatically including new files and fields added. We had a debate about this before the stream. Patrick and I were debating about this, and so like the way I interpret it. So Patrick and I interpreted this different ways, which I love because we got like different perspectives on it. So my perspective of this is it sounded like we just wanted to get metrics on the columns and tables from a model perspective, and from my standpoint, that doesn't necessarily matter if it's direct query or not. And from a like an XMLA endpoint perspective, and we could do this through Senpai in a notebook, is you could issue statements to get a listing of tables and columns, and then iterate over that to get whatever stats you want. And from that standpoint, you could automate that. Even as you add another table or column or whatever, that script would still work because you're getting the metadata and then looping over that to get whatever statistics is that you want. And so, Patrick, what was your perspective on this?
I mean, when you say that, for me, direct query metrics is performance, right? What's going on? But then, obviously, the second part he said about columns and tables. But what is he looking at? What type of metrics? Is it what Adam said, or are we looking at performance metrics? I think it's what Adam said. Columns in all tables. Now that I read it all the way through. But if you're talking about just performance itself, you got to use profile or log analytics or something to capture the performance of it. But I do think it's, cardinality and the structure of the model. So that doesn't matter. Use DMVs.
And what Matthew said, right? You're looking for data quality. My perspective of this is you're looking at the data quality aspect of it, not direct query metrics.
Yeah.
That's... Dan's here. Dan said we're running data quality tests against the data. Yeah, like how many nodes? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with direct query necessarily. You're just trying to get metrics around that. So so from a Senpai perspective, so check out the video I did on Senpai, where I show you how you can go issue DAX commands, including DMV comments, and so you can just run that, and you can automate it.
So. If you go into the new preview feature, DAX Query View, and right-click on a table, it'll run a query that shows you max, mins, nulls. I got a video coming out. Thank you, Zoe. I got a video coming out that shows you how to do that.
All right. Yeah, but he wants to automate it. You can't automate that.
I know, but you can run a DAX query. You can automate the execution of a DAX query. Yeah, you can take those DAX queries that it produces, add that to your notebook, call those. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, there you go, John.
You don't have to write it.
Yep. Senpai save to the lake and then hook up data activator. Bam.
Yeah.
Good to go. I love it. So the other thing, the perspective Patrick had also, and I saw Matthew kind of went down this road as well, is in terms of Patrick latched on to the dynamic SQL part of it. And from that standpoint, and I want to say you did a video on this where you can do parameters with notebooks and
yes.
At that point, then you could automate the notebook and pass in a parameter from a pipeline perspective, and then have it go run. Your queries are based on whatever those parameters are, so you can absolutely do that too. I remember when Patrick saw that you could do that, he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!"
Yeah.
So you just automate the notebooks. There's so many. That's the thing I love about Fabric personally is there's so many of these little nuggets all over the product that it's it's hard to, because there's a lot of new big features, and so that's where all of the the announcements are coming from. But it's those little nuggets also that I love a lot, of just discovering those and seeing what the integrations can do, and so it's Johnny, I will say dynamically built SQL is the best SQL. So.
Hey.
All right. Let's go. So Dan, we got you covered on that one. Shane, so this was a two-parter. Shane said he had to leave. So looking for an efficient way to move data from Azure SQL to Azure SQL. External tables doesn't seem to officially do remote queries. It seems to, but needs something official. Our on-prem bounces off the firewall too many times, and factory costs a bit. All SQL is in the same tenant. Okay, so saying factory costs a bit, because I was going to throw out, can we do this with a pipeline and just orchestrate it. But you're saying the cost on that is too much. You could do this externally. Like you could script this, like even if you didn't want to use a pipeline, you could create some scripts, automation scripts, and run that. Like you could do it in an Azure VM.
A million ways to do this.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to move data between two databases. So the other thing you could look at doing too is because you can do backups on Azure SQL Database and then restore that backup. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So you could script that through like an ARM script of some kind too, and run that.
Too many times. Could you instead of trying to go from SQL to SQL, could you just dump it out to whatever data you're trying to do, dump it out to some flat file location, and then pull that with factory? So you're not, that on-prem SQL isn't bouncing off the firewall constantly. Just get it out of your on-prem SQL as fast as possible, and then use pipelines to just pull that.
Oh, they don't want to use pipelines though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's because of all the bouncing off the firewall that factory costs.
Well, so I think they're saying if they try to automate it from on-prem, that's not a good option because the firewall causes problems. And then they're saying Azure Data Factory in the cloud costs too much, so they don't want to use that. So some of that's going to come down to a business decision too on what you're able to do. Like the brute force way of doing this is script it out some way through PowerShell or something else and run that in like an Azure VM. But again, now you're going to have costs on the Azure VM, so there's going to be costs somewhere. But there are a lot of different options from scripting and or existing tools like pipelines to orchestrate that stuff.
I would say this is it depends.
It is and it depends. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is it depends.
So Shane, hopefully that helps you, give you some ideas. There's not a one single answer to this one.
Ooh, Mark's got a good comment.
Yeah.
Sounds like a job for Miriam when it supports on-prem. Yeah. That's a good point, Mark.
So yes.
Because they're going to put it, but they want to put it to another SQL. Never mind.
No. So there is no on-prem here. So it's Azure SQL Database to another Azure SQL Database. So that's the scenario.
Yeah.
So the on-prem came in because if they try and automate this from an on-prem, they have network issues that cause problems.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like another answer there would be, which is it kind of goes outside of the solution that you're proposing, is get it into OneLake, and then you can do magic there. So
spin up a VM and run SSIS on it.
Well, again, then you got the cost of the VM. So like that's what I'm saying. Like you're going to pay a cost on that front. So the question is, where do you want to pay it? So Jarrell came in with a super chat and a question. Jump in the queue. Fabric beta certification, is it ready? Is it worth it? So it is coming. I don't know it's coming soon. I do know that we actually had a conversation about this earlier this week. So it is absolutely coming. I don't know when though specifically. It's going to be after the new year, for sure. And then, is it worth it? I mean, look, I always recommend going through the beta certifications just because it helps tune the questions for the final exam. So as folks can leverage
it's in January.
January, there you go.
January.
I knew it was after the new year. I was right.
Yeah, after the new year.
Yeah, beta in January. There you go. There you go. Yeah, the study guide's already out there. Mark put that out there. Also, go through the Learn content, too. There's a lot of great Learn content to prep for the exam, so definitely check that out. But yeah, I recommend folks go through the beta exam if you can, just because it helps the team, tune the questions so that it makes once it's out of beta, it's a solid exam. So obviously, when it's in beta, there's a lot of questions there that'll get weeded out and or answers and tuning and that kind of stuff. So I personally think it's worth it, but I guess that's a question for yourself in terms of exams and whatnot. So yeah.
I say SSIS and Andy.
I know Andy perked up. Wait, what? Good to see you, Andy.
Good to see you, Andy.
All right, Tim. Created an Azure sub trial with an F64 SKU. Excellent. Created Power BI Premium Workspace. All right, so we got the diamond on there. That's great. Verified, linked to Fabric 64, Power BI Pro license, no Copilot. Why? So Copilot.
It's rolling out.
So, and also, I want to be very specific here. So, when you say Copilot, please be specific on which Copilot you're talking about, because even in the context of Fabric, there's going to be a lot of different Copilots. And so, what I'm assuming you mean, Tim, is the new Copilot for Power BI that's been demoed, where you can use Copilot to create the reports. That is being rolled out. So, it is in public preview, but because of just making sure everything runs correctly, they're doing this in stages. And so it should be available to everyone soon, potentially past the new year. But it is coming. It will be available for everyone. Johnny, Copilot not fully rolled out until March. So just stay tuned. You may get it before then. Yeah, you may get it before then. But just be aware that it's not available for everyone yet today. So I will also say in the Guy in a Cube tenant on my side, we don't have it yet. So, you're not alone. You're not alone.
No.
So it's patience. The P, as Alex says, the P in Fabric is for patience. In terms of getting it faster.
Oh, another point.
Oh, what?
Go ahead. Alex made another point, but go ahead.
Oh, what was Alex?
Well, Alex was saying you got to enable it too. You got to go look on the
there's going to be a tenant setting as part of it. I will say the admin on our tenant just opens everything up. So
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
That admin still hasn't figured out how to get Teams to work correctly. But
no,
like
you can't have meetings with people outside your organization.
Yeah.
You know what? So Thomas, I was thinking the same thing. This is this whole thing is about Fabric.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's been some. Wait. There's been a good mix. There's been a couple Power BI related questions. There's been a bunch of Fabric questions. We even had an Azure SQL database question in there to just mix it up.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, a little bit of it's a potpourri of technology.
It's a potpourri.
Potpourri. All right. Let's see here. All right, so here's a Power BI question. How can we filter a visual by a measure when a calculation group is not applied? Well, here. Let me show you.
Oh, you're going to show us?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. Hang on. So the question is, how do you filter a visual by a measure? And so I'm going to head over to my desktop. When you don't have a calculation group. When
the calculation group is applied. Where's your calc group?
Yeah, I'm not going to show you that. I didn't catch that part. I thought I read it. Patrick's like, oh, wait a second. I read it as when you don't have a calculation group. I'm like, oh, I got the answer to that.
Okay, you already got this built. I don't have this one built, man. I gotta go build this one.
Yeah,
we gotta go look at this one.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what I said. I'm being reminded of like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Like, run away! All right, what do you think, Patrick?
I don't know. We got to go build this one.
Yeah.
This is a good question. I had another question about calculation groups that I'm looking at, and so I'm gonna go look. I'll just add this to it. So
answer the question. Kevin's like, answer the question you wish they had asked. So okay, I'll show you. In terms of filtering a visual by a measure, if you select the visual, you can do a filter on this visual. And then you can use a measure to filter things down. So that's a way to do it to avoid having to get like a. So in terms of slicers, that's the way to do it to avoid bidirectional relationships. So lots of content out there on that. Toma. Like Adam closed that down real quick. It's like, whoop, nope, not that. Go back.
Quickly retreats. I was like, all right, I want to see this.
Patrick's like, I'm curious. What is he going to show? All right. So
we'll find out.
Did you write this down on your whiteboard, Patrick?
Filters. Measure filters.
Measure filters. When a calc group is applied. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, got it.
The answer may be it's not supported. That might be the answer.
That's funny.
So,
Ooh,
all right.
That was funny.
All right. Drawer. My model is configured to use dual, so imported ag tables and direct query. Great. All relationships, also, by the way, Power BI question. All relationships are in place. Cool. Any idea on why certain measures, visuals, query only the slow DQ tables? Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Well, are you hitting the ag?
Yeah. How do you?
Are you hitting the ag?
So my guess is you're not hitting the ag if you're going DQ.
Yeah. Yep. And so there's a playlist of aggregation videos that we have on our YouTube channel. Don't have time to go through all of it, but you can get that query from that visual that's in direct query, run it in DAX Studio or even in Profiler, and it'll show some events, and then you'll be able to see what's hitting the stream.
Yeah, and you can see why it missed. The stream. Why it missed the ag, and so you can see like these are the things that. So it's based on the query pattern, right? And so your ag's probably just not covering that query pattern. So you'll have to make some adjustments.
It's just on the shape of that query. And see, this is the thing, right? People forgot all about all these things once we start talking about direct links. Like, wow, we don't need ags anymore. People still going to use ags. People still going to use ags, man.
Well, and also there's a lot of folks that, if you still have it, oh, there you go, Alex dropping the video on it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. But there's a lot of existing stuff that's already in production too, right? That's not going to switch over to direct link tomorrow. So we still got to support what's there. So, all right. There you go. Fix the ag, and then you'll be good. And so also the answer may be there that you may have to add an additional ag to cover that query.
So it depends. It depends. It absolutely depends.
Does it? Because the answer to the question is very straightforward. It's like it's not hitting it's hitting DQ because the ag didn't satisfy it. That's the answer.
Okay. I'm still gonna leave it there since we brought it up. Keep it, Kevin. Go with it.
All right.
Go with it, Kevin. But you're right. You're right. I'll give you that one. You're right.
Keeping it real. All right, Darren. Did I hear that Power BI workspaces will support creating folders? Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
There was. Yes, you did. Did I have?
I thought it was in the. It's not in the release plans.
Is it?
I think it is.
Look. Hang on. Where would it be? I don't know.
Johnny said, "Who said that? When?" Johnny said.
Well, it was announced at Power Platform Conference.
Yeah, it was.
So I showed a screenshot. I think it was the last stream where it was the item that was there and folders was listed
Mo
for
said
it.
Yeah. Mo said it. Yeah, Mo said it at Power Platform.
I don't see it in. I don't know if it's in the release plan or not.
Okay, it's coming though.
But it is coming.
Absolutely coming.
I don't know when. So that's. I'm trying to find it. I don't have it. Alex may get it, but Johnny, they did announce dark mode as well. It was a sneak peek at dark mode. It was a sneak peek at dark mode, so that's going to take a little longer. Alex, drop in the link for the folders in the release plan. There you go. Dark mode is. I don't believe dark mode is in the release plan yet, but they did show a sneak peek at dark mode for Power BI Desktop. That is coming. So
yeah.
And the world rejoiced.
We got 2 minutes left, man.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go. Scott Powell. Let's see how many of these we can get through. Hi, gents. Have a question about Fabric Data Warehouse. Oh, right. Lots of data warehouse questions, too. Look at this. Like Bogdan's going to be so happy when he's here on the 16th.
I know.
I'm doing many small standalone projects. Is it better to have one data warehouse to serve them all or separate ones? I'm unsure what overhead each data warehouse costs. Ooh, that's going to be an it depends.
Yeah.
It depends. That's absolutely an it depends. So I think there's different factors that come into this that are going to help you make the decision. And I also want to say this. Some of it's a technical decision. The other piece of this is going to be a business decision on how you want to do it. So the things I started thinking about are like things like access, like what workspace is it in? Does that satisfy the needs for the reports and or the queries that are going to be answered? So if you just have one warehouse in one workspace, if you want to think about access to that warehouse, does that one handle everything you need, or there may be an option to create another workspace with another warehouse? And this is where OneLake really becomes a beautiful piece of the story, is that you can just have that, right? You can create a different data warehouse, and you're actually leveraging the data that's already in one lake. So you're not necessarily duplicating the data. We can shortcut out to things, or we can reference things appropriately. So that's where I'm coming from on that. So
we had a conversation about this though, Adam. So if you and I know people are like, oh my God, what are they saying? Why are they saying have multiple data warehouses? Now we're going back to this whole silos. I see it, Thomas. It's popping. But if I start building out a data warehouse, Adam works in human resources, I work in sales. If we never need to correlate anything, they never need to know about each other. Why do I need to mix them and make this big messy junk? This big data warehouse that Adam's never going to use the one part and I'm never going to use the other part. Yeah. Make them separate. There's 3-part naming that's available in Fabric, or you can just create a lake house and shortcut to all the tables that you need across both of those warehouses and then use it. That's why this is it depends.
So I think this is where the paradigm shift comes in with Fabric, and I don't know that everyone's latched onto this yet, because even Thomas, Thomas is saying, don't create silos. But with one lake, I'm not necessarily creating a silo. I'm leveraging existing data that's in another area. That was it. All right.
Yeah.
And so that's where we can avoid the concept of silos, but we're doing this in a smart way from a Fabric context, right? So that's where we got to start thinking about that. From that point. In terms of the cost is going to depend on really on your query patterns and the processing for those things. So you're going to have to measure that in terms of what your load is and look at that. So yeah. I don't know. Anything else, Patrick?
Nope.
We kind of went off on that one. That was a good question.
No.
All right. We still have questions in the queue, but we are over, Patrick. We are over time. So. What are you laughing at?
Well, something we talked about I was going to say, but I ain't saying that now.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So thank you, everyone, for being with us. Apologies for not getting your question. Come back next week. We'll do it again. We will be here next Saturday. And so I'll be wearing a different sweater. So we'll have to see which one that is. I know you don't. I've got 5. I've got 5. Come back next week. We'll get the questions ready to go. And just share more knowledge and love of Fabric and Power BI and apparently Azure SQL database too. So all the things. Patrick, any closing words of wisdom?
No, not right now.
Not today. Not today. No wisdom today.
Not today.
No wisdom. Today. That's all right. That's all right.
But you know what? All the people that answer questions in the chat that provide context. Thank you so much. Right?
Yes,
keep doing it. Everyone that comes to do that, we appreciate you. Yeah. We appreciate you guys.
And thank you, Arun, for showing up. That was great.
Yeah. Thanks, Arun and Mark and
everybody, all the folks. That's the thing I love is there's a lot of representation from the Fabric team in the chat every week. So very much appreciate that. So we crowdsource it. And then other folks, MVPs and everyone helping everyone out. So definitely the spirit of the holidays, right? And giving and whatnot. So thank you for that. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Next week.